Hello, this is Roger Weston. There's a story about an old man who was dying, and his son came to visit him, and the son was tired, and the nurse took him to the room, and uh, the old man was dying, and he was heavily sedated, and the young man could see what kind of condition that he was in. This was clearly nearing the end, and he was inside an oxygen tank. The man was heavily sedated. He couldn't really tell what was going on around him very well. But the nurse said, "Your son is here." And so, he reached out, and the son took his hand and held his hand. And then the nurse got him a chair. And so he sat down, and the son stayed with him all night long, squeezed his hand when he needed it. And then in the morning, he died. And the nurse came in and did the things she had to do. And, then she turned and said, "I'm so sorry about your father." And he said, well, who was that guy? And she goes, "What? I thought that was your father." And he goes, "No, that wasn't my father." And she goes, "Well, why didn't you say something?" And he says, "Well, I could see he was dying. He needed someone to be with him. And so I just stayed with him." And so this is a story about, maybe it's a story about all of us, in the sense that all of us many times we're um, distracted. We have our own issues, and we're not paying attention. The guy in the story was paying attention. He wasn't just concerned about where he was going. He could see the condition of this. He was paying attention to this old man and the condition of this old man, someone else's problem, not just his own problem, but he was sensitive to what he was seeing. He was watching, he was paying attention, and he noticed. That's the point, I think, here, is that he noticed that this guy was needed. His son wasn't there, but he needed his son. So he stepped in and played the role. And so he was with this old man, probably praying for him all night as he held his hand. And that was the last person that he was with, this old man, when he died. And so I think it's a great story, because it shows us how important it is to just be aware, not just of ourselves and our own problems, but be aware of those around us, uh, and be aware that even though we're busy, perhaps, or distracted with our own issues, that sometimes we need to be aware of other people's problems, so we can adapt and do the right thing when at the right time. So there you go. There's a story. Actually, this story came from a book by uh, More Stories for the Heart. It's compiled by Alice Gray. So there you go. Have a great afternoon. Have a great day, and be aware. Be aware of be alert. Fight on.